What if the reason creatine isn't working has nothing to do with the creatine itself? Most people assume results come down to brand, dose, consistency, or timing. But creatine doesn't work just because it enters the body. It has to reach the muscle cell, and what the body looks like in that moment changes everything. Understanding why reveals something about how muscle cells actually absorb nutrients, and why most people are accidentally working against themselves. Here is something most people never hear. Creatine's first job inside the body is not strength. It is not power. It is not more reps. Its first job is water. Creatine is what scientists call an osmolyte, a compound that helps pull water into cells. When creatine enters a muscle cell, it draws fluid in with it. That's why people who take creatine consistently often notice their muscles looking and feeling fuller. But that fullness is not cosmetic. It is part of the mechanism. A muscle cell that is properly hydrated from the inside is in a fundamentally better state, more capable of recovery, more receptive to protein synthesis, more prepared to produce energy. So creatine does not work in a dry environment. It works in a full one. And that changes the entire question. The question is not, are you taking creatine? The better question is the muscle cell ready to receive it? Think about what the body looks like after a hard workout. Sweat has been lost. Electrolytes have dropped. Blood volume is lower than normal. The body is actively trying to restore balance. And in that exact state, many people immediately reach for their creatine. Creatine enters muscle cells through a transporter that depends on sodium gradients to function. Sodium is not just table salt inside the body. It controls fluid movement, nerve signaling, and how efficiently nutrients cross cell membranes. When fluid and electrolyte levels are low, that gradient weakens. The transporter still works, but it works slowly, and it works partially. Creatine arrives in the bloodstream, but the door into the muscle cell is not fully open. This is why some people take creatine every single day and feel almost nothing. The supplement is real, the dose is correct, but the environment around the dose is weak. Creatine does not just need consistency, it needs the right conditions. But this is where it becomes counterintuitive, because hydration alone is not enough. There is another piece most people never connect to creatine, and it involves food. When someone eats a meal that includes carbohydrates, insulin rises. Most people think of insulin only as a blood sugar hormone, but insulin also acts as a delivery signal. It tells the body that energy is available, that storage can happen, that rebuilding can begin. And this is where researchers discovered something surprising. Creatine absorption doesn't depend only on hydration. It also appears to depend on what arrives alongside it. Research suggests creatine retention improves meaningfully when it is taken alongside carbohydrates and protein. One reason is that insulin appears to increase the activity of the same transporter creatine depends on. So when both are present, sodium from food, insulin from carbohydrates, that transporter operates at a higher capacity than it would in a depleted, fasted state. This does not mean creatine only works with a massive meal. It does not mean a sugary drink or an extreme insulin spike. It means the body handles creatine better when it arrives inside a normal recovery signal. Water, electrolytes, protein, carbohydrates, a real meal. The creatine did not change. The conditions around it did. So does timing actually matter? For years, the standard answer was, take it whenever, just be consistent. And consistency is still the foundation. But there is a reason the post-workout window gets attention, and it is worth understanding why. After resistance training, phosphocreatine stores inside the muscle have been partially depleted. Blood flow to the trained area is elevated. The cellular systems that drive nutrient uptake are more active than at rest. The muscle is in a state of demand. It is primed to pull in what it just used. Some studies comparing pre-workout and post-workout creatine timing have found a modest but consistent advantage for taking it after training. But here's the part the advice usually leaves out. That post-workout advantage only exists if the body is not depleted. A dehydrated, sodium-low body after training is not primed. It is just empty. The better rule is not, take creatine after training. The better rule is, rehydrate first, then take creatine with food. The timing matters far less than what surrounds the dose. There is one more reason people lose trust in creatine, and it has nothing to do with absorption. They expect it to feel like something. Creatine is not a stimulant. It does not create a surge. It does not register in the first hour. Creatine works through saturation. Muscle creatine stores build gradually over days and weeks. And most research showing real performance benefits measures people. who have been supplementing consistently for 3 to 4 weeks minimum, which creates a problem. If someone takes creatine inconsistently, skipping days, poor hydration, no food stores never fully saturate, and a partially saturated muscle produces partially saturated results. This is the quiet reason creatine does not work for so many people. Not bad genetics, not non-responder status. Inconsistency plus poor conditions equals incomplete saturation. Over weeks, inside the right environment, creatine becomes one of the most reliable tools in sports science. Most people never give it that chance. So what does this actually mean for the way creatine should be approached? It means the upgrade most people are looking for is not in the product. The people who respond best to creatine are rarely the ones with the most expensive formula. They are the ones whose bodies are consistently prepared to use it. Hydrated across the day, not just in the hour after training. Electrolytes present because sodium is part of the transport system, not just a hydration concern. Food in the system because insulin and nutrient availability directly affect how much creatine crosses into the muscle. Consistent over weeks because saturation, not a single dose, is where the results live. These are not optimization hacks. They are the baseline conditions creatine was designed to work inside. Most people are spending money on a high-quality supplement and then accidentally creating the exact conditions that make it work less. Creatine is not complicated. 5 grams a day, consistent over time, inside a body that is hydrated, fueled, and ready to store what it receives. The science is not asking for perfection. It is asking for conditions. And the perspective shift is this. Creatine is not a supplement that works or does not work. It is a system, and like any system, it performs exactly as well as the environment it operates in. The problem was rarely the creatine. It was the environment it landed in. The most powerful upgrade for creatine is not a better formula. It is giving the same scoop a better place to work.